Mi-8, also known as the HIP in NATO reporting, is a Soviet-designed medium twin-turbine helicopter, one of the most widely produced helicopters in the world. It was developed in the 1960s and introduced into the Soviet Air Force in 1968. It is primarily a transport helicopter capable of carrying passengers, cargo, or both. It can also be configured for various other roles, including airborne command post, armed gunship, reconnaissance, and electronic warfare. It is known for its rugged construction, making it suitable for operations in harsh environments and remote locations. It is also relatively easy to maintain, contributing to its widespread use. It has a spacious cargo hold and can also carry external loads, making it a valuable asset for transporting supplies and equipment. Over the years, numerous variants of the Mi-8 have been developed to meet different operational requirements, including specialized versions for military, civilian, and VIP transport. The Mi-8 has seen extensive military service in the Soviet Union and Russia, and also many other countries that it is employed with. The Indian Air Force inducted the Mi-8, which they nicknamed as Pratap, in 1972, and it became a crucial part of their medium-lift helicopter fleet for many years. The Mi-8 has participated in several important operations, like Operation Meghdoot in the Siachen Glacier, where its ability to operate in high-altitude conditions was vital to maintain the supply lines to the troops serving on the front lines of those high altitudes. During Operation Pawan in Sri Lanka, which is the operation that I have based my current Mi-8 build on, the Mi-8 played a key role in the Indian Peacekeeping Forces mission. The Mi-8 also played an important role during the Kargil operations in 1999. The Indian Air Force phased out the Mi-8 in the 2000s, with the last helicopters being retired in 2017, being replaced by the similar-looking but evidently more potent Mi-17, Mi-17-1s, and Mi-17 V5s. Welcome back to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. Swing Wing Singh here, and today we are going to build the SMER 1/72nd scale Mi-8 Pratap of the Indian Air Force. So basically, I received this kit in the form of a single plastic bag with all the sprues, the instruction sheet, and the decal sheet, and this came all the way from another scale modeler who wanted me to build this kit for him. So I went online to check the actual box of this particular kit, and here is what I found. So basically, the kit box is the Mi-8 SAR, or Search and Rescue helicopter version. And as you can see, if I go to the timeline, it dates back to 1994. The kit was originally boxed by KP, and then over the years it has been reboxed and rebranded by a few other companies, and some new decals, for example the Indian Air Force ones, were added into it, especially the SAR ones, and finally it is the box that you see now. So this is the look at the decal sheet, and you can see that we've got the Indian Air Force SAR version here, but I'm not going to use this one because I have something different in mind. So here's a quick glance at the sprues and the details. They're pretty basic. They come with the fuselage, the interior cabin, and other bits and bobs like the rotors, the rocket launchers, etc. Alright, so I began the build with the drilling of the holes, and there are a lot of holes to be drilled inside the cabin, which you see is a simple plate of plastic. It is just molded in a particular shape. It doesn't have any locator pins, and to fit the seat, the instrument panel, and the control column, you need to drill out those holes. Right, so the next step is to build the rest of the cabin behind the cockpit. So here you can see me cutting out those parts. Now this is the cabin door that you see here, and there are practically no locator pins, so you literally have to eyeball the position of that door. Now when you're doing that, you will find that the door is kind of protruding outside the width of the floor, and that makes you think that you may have to sand that off in order to make it fit, but that is not the case to be. You leave it as is and then keep building, because that's going to help you later on in the build when you fix the entire floor inside the fuselage halves. Now I move to the construction of the troop seats. These are basically rectangular plastic pieces mounted on other plastic pieces which are kind of thinner than the previous plastic pieces. So lots and lots of plastic pieces is all that you have here. Again, there are no locator pins for the legs of the seats, so you just have to eyeball the position. The only thing you have to take care of is the positioning of the legs on the last seat. The last part of the last leg of the last seat will be bent in a particular fashion, and for that you can either use hot water technique to bend it. I wanted to speed up my process, so I literally used a cigarette lighter basically. Well, that doesn't mean that I smoke, but I had this lighter because it comes in handy for certain stretch sprue operations. So that's the reason why I resorted to using my cigarette lighter here. And then I did some magic of my hands. So get ready for the magic in 3, 2, 1, abracadabra. So here's the final finished cabin interior with enough space for the soldiers to dance around in the center. Alright, so on the left you see I have Camel Emerald, which is a new paint that I bought, and on the right you see the grey blue cockpit, which is an old paint that I had initially prepared with Fevicryl grey and blue. So here you can see me now painting the cockpit with the emerald green from Camel, and look at that color. It's come out very, very nice and vibrant. This is just straight out of the bottle, thinned with water, and I'm spraying it at about 30 psi. And here you can see me now painting the gray interiors of the cabin with the improvised Fevicryl cockpit gray. Alright, so the next step was to close the fuselage halves together, but before that we need to attach the windows from the inside. These are about 12 windows here, and even before that I need to mask off these windows, because once the fuselage halves are closed there is no way that I will be able to mask them. So I used my manual circle cutting tool. This has a very sharp blade at the end of it, and you can cut different sizes of circles, and so here I cut the circles in exactly the size that was required for the windows. And then I started off with a little bit of cleanup on the exhaust section of the engine, and once that cleanup was done I proceeded to check the places where the filler would be needed, and you can see right here, you can see how bad that assembly is. There would be a lot of filler that is required almost everywhere on the top, at the rear where the engine fits with the fuselage, and then you've got some on the rear tail boom as well, and then you've got some at the underside as well. If I show you the entire seam line right from the front till the rear end of the helicopter, all of this section will have to be filled first, and so I proceeded with the tedious task of filling and sanding. And once all of that was done, here you can see that I've primed it in Bosny Gray primer, and now I am ready for the painting session. Alright, so then I started painting the gray blue on the Mi-8 as the base coat, but then I noticed that the blue on the Mi-8 is a little more blue than the blue that I had been using, so I added a little more blue in order to make the base coat more blue. And then of course I had some snakes on the helicopter. Well, not really snakes, but that is blue tack, and I used blue tack to mask off the camo pattern of the olive drab on top of the blue. It was an enjoyable painting session, and after that I moved on to the unmasking of the windows and the front windshields. And finally, with the gloss coat on, I then began putting on the decals. There are just a very limited number of decals, and basically I had printed these decals at home, and you can see that they have turned out pretty nice. I then masked off the windows and put a flat matte coat over it, and it was time for the final assembly of parts. Now, the first thing that went on in the final assembly was the rear wheels, and you can see that the rear wheels actually had a notch here, but I had to drill in some holes there. Also for the front nose landing gear. Now, these holes are not mentioned as part of the instructions, and so this is something that I had to do on my own. I needed to drill in some holes. This tail hook assembly also was a very flimsy one. It did not have any attachment holes, and so I had to drill in those holes as well to make the tail hook assembly fit in. The final part was the tail rotor with its locking mechanism, and then the main rotor, and that completed the build. Alright, so here's the final finished model. This is the Mi-8 helicopter in the camouflage pattern that prevailed during the 90s. I have depicted this as the helicopter that was used during the IPKF operations in Sri Lanka. And here you can see those people loading up some supplies into the helicopter hull. It's a pretty simple kit to build, honestly, and with the amount of detail that is present in the interiors of the helicopter, it makes it all the more interesting, albeit the absence of locator pins made it very difficult at times to fit the parts together. You really had to eyeball the fitting and ensure that everything aligns before you glue it finally. But apart from that, it was a great kit to build. Definitely KP have done a good job in maintaining the accuracy of the kit. The front windshield attaches very nicely with the rest of the body of the helicopter. That is one part that I was skeptical about, but it came around really well. Same with the windows, which were fitted from the inside. The windows fitted very, very nicely. They were snug fits without any issues. And I would say the overall helicopter is a value for money model, and I would suggest it for all types of modelers, beginner, intermediate, and advanced. So if you like this video, please follow the algorithm, click the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to comment, because I love interacting in the comments with you guys. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you again in the next video. Bye bye, take care, stay safe.